For the absolute longest time, the medical consensus has painted a pretty bleak picture when it comes to declining kidney function, especially when we're looking at eGFR levels, your estimated glomerular filtration rate, the number that basically tells us how well your kidneys are filtering out waste. The story was always that once it goes down, it stays down. But today, we are diving into a fascinating explainer that shatters everything we thought we knew about kidney health. We're going to look at some groundbreaking insights that literally flip the script entirely. And hey, if you think this is a niche issue, think again. In Japan alone, a staggering 1 in 8 people suffers from some form of kidney issue. And the final, most severe stage of this, dialysis, is seeing roughly 40,000 brand new patients every single year. It is a massive, growing health crisis driven largely by our modern lifestyle habits. It really sets the stage for why the information we're unpacking today isn't just interesting, it's absolutely critical for all of us. So let's address the elephant in the room right away. Can a declining kidney actually recover? If you ask most people, or even standard medical textbooks from a few decades ago, the answer was a firm, resounding no. The long-held medical myth was that once your kidney function drops, those delicate little filters are permanently gone for good. But recent research, especially some really exciting clinical observations from 2024 involving lifestyle medicine and cellular repair, is proving that we absolutely should not give up hope. Which brings us to a massive game-changing paradigm shift in how we approach recovery. Usually, when our health declines, our very first instinct is to add things, right? We think, oh, I need to take more supplements, I need to buy all these health foods, I've got to add more exercise to my routine. But actually, scratch that, because this is a totally flawed strategy for the kidneys. The fastest, most effective route to recovery isn't adding good things, it is aggressively subtracting the bad. It's all about taking the burden off the organ so it can finally utilize its own natural healing mechanisms. And this recovery is totally possible. The real-world data from recent research brilliantly illustrates this. We have a patient who had a C rating for 10 long years, suddenly jumping all the way to an A rating. We see a female in her 50s whose eGFR was at a highly concerning 42, which indicates moderate to severe decline, bouncing right back up to a 56. Another male in his 40s went from a 51 to a 57. These are not weird anomalies. These are direct results of shifting from that addition mindset to a strict subtraction mindset. So, how do we do it? Well, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to methodically break down 5 invisible burdens we absolutely must subtract: phosphates, artificial sweeteners, active oxygen, chronic inflammation, and excessive intake. Let's start right off with Detox 1, phosphates and additives. Now, you might think, I avoid junk food, I'm fine. But artificial phosphates are this super sneaky hidden enemy. They're secretly lurking even in foods marketed as healthy, like calcium-fortified wafers, certain health drinks, and functional foods. They'd hide out under innocent-sounding names like emulsifiers, baking powders, or alkaline agents. So why is this so bad? Because artificial phosphates are incredibly destructive. They cause rapid calcification of your blood vessels and literally leach the calcium straight out of your bones. Your kidneys act as the body's final fortress. They bear the absolute ultimate burden of trying to filter out these dangerous synthetic phosphates. Every time you consume processed meats or seemingly harmless commercial baked goods, you are forcing your poor kidneys to work massive amounts of overtime. So the crucial takeaway here is making super practical, everyday swaps to immediately reduce that filtration burden on your body, without feeling like you're depriving yourself. Instead of processed bacon or sausages, upgrade to homemade ham or thick tofu. Ditch those commercial sweetbreads for some hearty oatmeal and soy milk. Trade the instant noodles for a nutrient-rich miso soup, and swap that cola for sparkling water with a squeeze of fresh lemon. You see, you aren't starving yourself, you're just subtracting the chemical burden. Moving right along to Detox 2. Artificial sweeteners. Okay, if you think you're making the smart, healthy choice by drinking zero-calorie sodas just to avoid sugar, think again. The hidden dangers here are actually profound. Back in 2023, the World Health Organization officially advised against the long-term use of synthetic sweeteners. Why? Well, because they artificially trigger sweet dependency. Basically, they warp your taste buds and make you crave even more sweets. Worse, over the long term, they completely ruin your gut environment and can paradoxically lead to insulin resistance. By trying to cheat the system with 0 calories, you're setting off a massive chain reaction of metabolic stress that eventually hits, yep, you guessed it, your kidneys. Let's tackle Detox 3, active oxygen. Now, this isn't about something you're eating. This is a microscopic, cellular-level threat that causes premature aging, chronic fatigue, and severe kidney damage over time. Active oxygen essentially refers to free radicals running loose in the body.
While a tiny amount is perfectly natural, this byproduct goes into complete and utter overdrive from everyday things like blood sugar spikes, exposure to strong UV rays, a lack of sleep, and high stress. When there's way too much active oxygen, it directly attacks and damages the extremely delicate capillaries in the kidney's glomerulus. Those are the microscopic filters that clean your blood. When those get damaged, boom, you start seeing protein in your urine, and your blood pressure starts going up.
But hey, don't worry, the fix for this is highly actionable. Here are 4 super simple lifestyle tweaks to control this. First up, ensure you're getting a solid 7 hours of sleep. Second, change how you cook. Boil or steam your food instead of frying it because oxidized oils from frying create huge amounts of free radicals. Third, aim for light aerobic exercise, like a 20-minute walk where you can still comfortably hold a conversation about 5 times a week. And finally, implement some real stress management. Nailing these 4 things absolutely protects the kidney's mitochondria and massively boosts its natural, built-in healing power.
Next up is Detox 4, chronic inflammation.
The crazy thing is, most people are completely unaware of this continuous internal damage happening inside them right this very second. It's the ultimate invisible attacker. There are no direct symptoms, you don't feel pain, you aren't itchy, but inside, it's acting as if your internal cells and those microscopic capillaries are being slowly roasted over an open fire day by day. I mean, what a vivid analogy from the source material, right? Because the kidneys are essentially just bundles of millions of microscopic blood vessels. They are literally the very first things to get burned. So, what is throwing gasoline on this fire? The most common culprits include visceral fat buildup, poor gut health, sleep deprivation, and, surprisingly enough, untreated gum disease. To defend against this right now, your very best immediate tactics are to cut refined white sugar to absolute zero, minimize alcohol, and ensure that at least half your plate is piled high with vegetables, seaweed, and mushrooms. That's going to provide the heavy-hitting antioxidants you need to put that internal fire out. And finally, Detox 5, excessive intake. This tackles a uniquely modern problem. We are just taking in way too much of everything these days, which creates a massive backlog for your filtration system. Even if the food is technically healthy, eating an excess of carbs, fats, protein, and salt totally overloads your body. But listen, you don't necessarily have to starve yourself. You just need to be strategic. For instance, just changing the order in which you eat your food can drastically flatten those nasty blood sugar spikes. It's called the blood sugar defense eating order. Step 1. Always start with your dietary fiber, so vegetables and seaweed. Step 2, move on to your proteins, like your meat or fish. Step 3, finish up with your carbohydrates. Just rearranging that sequence protects those delicate microvessels in the kidneys from sudden glucose shocks. And here is some incredibly actionable, bite-sized tips from the source material to prevent accidental overconsumption without ruining the joy of a good meal. Try to target a maximum of 5 to 6 grams of salt a day. A really great hack for this, just always leave half the soup broth in your bowl. Also, use smaller plates to naturally control your portions. If you need a snack, grab nuts, cheese, or fruits over processed carbs. And always measure your seasonings with a spoon so you can actually see the physical salt and sugar you are about to eat. Now, the creator of this protocol actually offers a full 7-day step-by-step PDF manual via their official Line channel, which just goes to show that having structured daily guidance yields amazing recovery results. But listen closely to this. You do not need a PDF to start. The real transformation doesn't begin when you download a guide. It begins right at home, the very moment you open your eyes in the morning. It really all comes down to this single, powerful rule. Morning choices dictate the entire day's kidney burden. How you start your day literally sets the tone for your body's entire filtration system. If you kick things off with processed meats or a sugary pastry, your kidneys are going to be playing desperate catch-up for the next 24 hours. But if you start with water, oatmeal, and a mindful approach, you give your body the space and peace it needs to actually repair itself. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one empowering thought that you can act on immediately. Don't sit there stressing about what magic new supplement you need to buy next. Instead, just look at your plate and ask yourself, what will you choose to subtract from your breakfast tomorrow morning?